Hey, hi, fama lama lama lam. So, thank you for watching this video. Try and watch it all the way through if you can. I know it can get boring for some people. Not a lot of people like history. This is a new thing for me. I'm hoping it pops off because I really do like talking about history. If you do like this video, guys, please like it. Please share it. If you don't follow me, please do follow my page. It's Loz Unfiltered. We've still got to come up with a name, for a name for this. So if you can drop your suggestions down below, that would be fabulous. I'd appreciate it. Let's just get cracking, fam. Already started. Let's just get going in it. So on the 28th of June, 1491, King Henry, or back then as he was known before being a king, Prince Henry was born. So Prince Henry was born to the king, the first Tudor king, King Henry VII. And along with his wife, Elizabeth of York, they had between 7 and 8 children. I found 7 of them, so I think there was 7. There isn't a mention of another child. Unfortunately, though, there was only 4 of them, including Henry, that actually made it past infancy. So, the first of the children to be born was Prince Arthur. And he was born on the 19th or 20th, they're not quite sure on the dates, of September in 1486. Being the first boy born, he was the first heir and the first person, after the king obviously, to be in line for the throne. The next to be born was Princess Margaret, and she was born on the 28th of November, 1489. She, later on, Princess Margaret, later went on to be Queen of Scotland on the 8th of August, 1503. Finally, the last surviving sibling was Mary. Now, Mary went on to be a Queen of France. She married Louis XII of France. Unfortunately, though, which is very sad, he died after 5 months of being married. Can I just add as well, like, they would used to get married so fucking young, you know, like really, 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 really young. I need to do more research on these other things, guys. Like I've just done Henry at the moment. We're starting off small, innit? We're starting off small. Anyway, so yeah, Mary married King Louis. He died after 5 months of being married, and then she married somebody called Charles Brandon. Charles Brandon. He was the Duke of Suffolk. He was the Duke of Suffolk, and they actually married in secret. Shh. Actually married in secret on the 3rd of March, 1515. If anybody's birthdays do correlate with any of these dates, please do drop them down below as well. Be interesting to see, wouldn't it? Anywho, so when Henry was born, obviously his mum and his dad were absolutely fucking ecstatic. Not really, I'm joking, they really wasn't. They were both pleased about his birth. Now they've got an heir and they've got a spare. So if anything did happen to Prince Arthur, now got Henry. Henry can swoop in and save day if he needs to, do you know what I mean? So they're happy about that. At the same time, because he was only a spare, his birth really got spoken about in the courts. Like, he didn't get as much official attention as what his brother got, basically, is what it says. Even though he was loved by his parents, it literally, I say he was loved by his parents, right? His dad, like, obviously he wasn't the future king, so his dad did not give a flying fuck, mate. He did not. He didn't care. And he was not a nice guy either. Like, I've done some shit on him as well. Like, mate, honestly, that guy, he wasn't even the real king to start with. He stole the crown. So let's get into that another day. Anyway, wow. Yeah, it wasn't his dad's favourite, and he could tell. He knew it. He knew he wasn't his dad's favourite, basically, and he didn't really give a fuck. He had his mum. He got really close with his mum. His mum was his best friend, and it was very close with his sister as well at one point. And also Arthur, I do believe, somewhere it says. Anyway, next. A lot of people believed that Henry lived in Arthur's shadow. Like, everything that Arthur did, like, he had to try and make him send, like, Same as his brother kind of thing. That's what people thought, which wasn't the case at all. So because obviously Henry was the spear, he could do things his brother could not. Like I say, he was not living in his brother's shadow the way that people thought he was. Well, he got anything he wanted. This guy was spoiled from the get-go, okay? It was basically destined for a easy, laid-back, do-as-you-please lifestyle. Like, he had no rules, basically. He was given titles from the age of 2. From the dates 1493 to 1495, from the years, sorry, he was given titles including Knight of the Bath, Duke of York, and the Earl Marshal of England. And the reason that he was given these titles so young, from like the age of fucking 2, imagine being the Earl of something like at the age of 2, mate. Like, what the fuck's what's he gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna read this bit out because, there's a piece that I need to explain, because I don't know if everyone's going to know what it means, because I didn't. I had to work it out for myself. Anyway, so his father gave him so many titles at such a young age so he could retain personal control over lucrative positions and not share them with established families. And if you like me, you were like, what the fuck? So basically what it means is he was given these roles from his dad, so his dad didn't have to give control over to somebody else, like a cousin in another country, or like not another country, but like Scotland or Ireland or something like that. Like, he didn't have to do that. He did it to his son. It was like, fuck you, family. I'm keeping my shit in the fucking bloodline, like my close bloodline, because we're all related. Let's be real. But I want it all. Give me more. Is what he was saying basically. Is what he wanted. He wanted his stuff for himself and his family, basically. So not a lot is known about Henry and his brother. One thing that is known about them, though, or I say them, one thing that is known is Henry actually kept Arthur's garter robe all the way through his life. Like, after he passed, he kept it. So soon after Henry was baptised, I'm guessing it was baptised in the same year. There is a bit of information about it, but it's not, like, it doesn't all add up, because there's different information about different things, basically. After he was baptised, he was moved into Eltham Palace with his mother, his sisters, and all his nurses. So basically, he was brought up, it was predominantly female. Like, that was it. It was just him, his mum, and all these females around him, basically. Which could be the reason why he married 6 times in his life, because he enjoyed the company of women. And he was only happy around women. His older brother, meanwhile, did stay with his father. Poor Arthur was left alone with his dad. And as we know, well, as I know, and you might know one day if I talk about it, his dad was not a nice person, so... But he did get treated like absolute gold, because he was the son, he was the heir, he was the next king. So his dad was preparing him, but at the same time, he did love him. So it was showing him a lot more attention and affection than what it was ever Henry, basically. Henry moved in with his mother. He was absolutely doted on by everybody in the house. Everyone just loved him because he was the spear. He could do no wrong. He just got away with everything, basically. It was living his best fucking life, mate. Do you know what I mean? He was surrounded by women. He loved it, mate. He loved it. Like, the kid could do no wrong. Especially by his mother. Like, his mother was, like, his absolute #1 fan. Back then, it was very, very, very uncommon for princes to be close with the mother. It was seen as a bit of an unusual thing. My mum was happy. Leave him to it, innit? He wants to be a mummy's boy. Let him be a fucking mummy's boy. Do you know what I mean? So, in 1501, Henry's brother, Arthur, marries Cathrine of Aragon, which, mate, what the fuck? I didn't even realise that was a thing, because wow. So Arthur goes on to marry Cathrine of Aragon when he was, I think it must have been about 14 then, because he died at the age of 15 from something called, at the time, the sweating sickness. But him and Catherine both had this sweating sickness. He unfortunately died. And Catherine went on to later marry King Henry, becoming his first of 6 wives. And we all know how that ended. And if you don't, It will come up, don't worry. Henry also, at this point, was only 10, 11 years old. Like, there's not 100% of how old he was. I've tried to work it out, but I'm a bit silly when it comes to maths. But he was around 10 or 11 years old, or it might have been 10, nearly 11 years old when Arthur died. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Catherine at this point. We'll come back to Catherine, don't worry, at some point. So after Arthur died, King Henry VII was put in a very difficult position. He'd put so much time and effort into making Arthur this perfect prince, as he grew up in exile, so he never got taught anything. So he wanted to give Arthur the skills and the preparation that he lacked in becoming a king, basically. Yeah, it just felt like it had all been for nothing, basically. Not just that, but his Cathrine of Aragon was left in the lurch. She had something called a dowry. Now, a dowry is, from my understanding, Spain basically paid England to keep her. Now, she didn't want to go back to her dad, so she had no other choice but to stick around, and I think they put her in the High Court as good faith kind of thing. But they made her part of the court and kept her around. Now I'm thinking, it doesn't actually say it, but putting 5 and 10 together, I'm thinking that they kept her around just for when Henry became of age, basically. That's what they did. Talk about keeping it in fucking family, though. So yeah, with no male heir and no one old enough to take the crown, it was absolutely shitting himself. So he knows the history, and anybody who's tried to take the crown previously, it's not been good. It's been very fucking messy. It's been very, very, very messy. He knows. He took a crown. He took the crown from King Richard III. He killed him on the battlefield and stole the crown. Anyway, yeah, enough of that bit. I can tell you so much, guys, honestly. Despite him panicking and thinking he's fucked, basically, he still had Henry. Henry wasn't forgot about. It was still the spear, it was still the heir, and it was definitely fucking needed now. So he got ripped out. I say ripped out. It was taken away from his mother. He would have felt ripped out of his mother's arms because it was all his mother. That's all he's ever known. He's never known anything than his mother and his sisters. So he would have felt absolutely devastated about the fact that he's now got to go and live with his dad, who's an absolute arsehole. He's basically given him no attention all his life, and all he's done is craved his attention, and now he's getting too much of his attention, and he fucking hates it. He cannot stand it. Just imagine being in a household full of women to get ripped away by your dad. So his dad appointed 7 male attendants to dress him and basically just prepare him for this king role that he's just been thrown into. The whole world's just been flipped upside down, mate. Do you know what I mean? And at this point as well, his mother actually was pregnant with his little sister, Catherine. But she wasn't doing very well. She was very poorly. She was very, very, very poorly. But regardless, obviously, Henry had to go away. He had to go and do his kingly duties, get ready to be a king and that. And, yeah. So when Henry was taken away, he was obviously placed in his father's care. I'm not 100% where he was placed. I can't find where he was, where he was taken. After he obviously got taken from his mum and with his dad. I don't know where he got taken because a bit further down the line, it does say that he moved into the royal home. But where was he before that? I can't find it. Between the ages of 11 and 13, I just can't find no information. So when Henry moved with his dad, he still had little responsibilities. Even after his brother had died, his responsibilities were still non-existent. So his dad basically hovered the fuck over him forever. He wasn't allowed anywhere. He didn't appear in public. He wasn't allowed to go anywhere unsupervised. If he wanted to go jousting or hunting, he had to be supervised at all times. Of course, his dad is going to be very overprotective of him because he's his last son, his only last heir to the throne. He wants to keep this Tudor dynasty because he was the first Tudor king. He wants to keep this Tudor dynasty going. He needs an heir. And this boy was monitored. And I tell you, monitored. He was monitored. So because of the way his dad was with him, it just meant obviously it wasn't in contact with people. He was untamed in the 1 minute, what was the word? Meaning he was untamed in the art of kingship. He put everything into Arthur and now he's got to play catch up with Henry just so he can make a decent king out of him. Bad boy, Henry the fucking seventh. You fucked it up. You fucked it up, okay? So he was untrained in the art of kingship. Instead of his dad, like, encouraging his independence, helping him out, saying, go on, lad, you do this, you got this. He was so fucking, it was overprotective, mate. Like, he wasn't allowed to do anything. It was so boring. Like, can you imagine just being on your own constantly like that? Poor Henry VIII. Even the Spanish ambassador said that no one ever sees the prince, and he was kept like a little girl. He obviously didn't say it like that, but he might as well have done, saying something like that. He definitely sat round a table with his friends and said that Prince Henry was kept like a little girl, and they all started laughing about it. 100%, mate. When Henry went to go and live with his father, he obviously never saw his mother. She never come to visit. I say obviously, like, she just never come to visit him. And then in February of 1503, she actually went into early labour in the Tower of London, and she died like a few days later. Not just that, but her daughter dies as well. So Cathrine dies, her newborn daughter. Just imagine what's going through Henry's head, man. He's just lost his brother. Now he's lost his mum and, like, his newborn sister as well. But it was noted as well, because they did lose another 2 kids before they lost Catherine. There was Catherine, Edmund and Elizabeth. It was like noted down, like it was recorded in that they didn't actually like look like they mourned the kids, like, because apparently they just passed it off as like one of them things that happened back then, which is crazy to me, mate. So like I say, Henry's gone through this like traumatic thing. It's not just him, it's the whole, obviously the whole of the royal family is going through this now. It's just another load of grief that they've got to get through now, isn't it? Royal history, man, it's brutal. There's actually a manuscript. I had to look up what manuscript meant, by the way. I thought it meant text. It didn't make sense what it said, but it does now. There's a manuscript, I'm going to put it up somewhere here, of Henry. Henry the Seventh used to own this manuscript, so it's like basically a picture. There's Henry in the background, like laying into his mum's bed, crying. It was absolutely devastating. He's lost his mother, he's lost his brother, and now he's left with his father, who in a lot of people's eyes was problematic. Poor Henry, man, didn't have the best upbringing, did he? Like the best start in life. This was all like before the age, like this is all like before the age of like even 16. So 2 years after his mother dies, he does actually move in to the royal household. Just before his 13th birthday, he moved in. Where he lived before that, I don't know. As Henry grew up, he was known as the Golden Prince and a universal genius. So he was smart and he was fine, apparently. The pictures that I've seen say otherwise. But anyway, even though it wasn't... I've done this on the wrong finger, 1 minute. Even though he wasn't expected to be king, he was still given like a high rate education, like some of the best leading tutors ever at the time. He was given a good education. He wasn't just like left in the dark to not learn anything at all. He was actually smart. He was a very, 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 very smart man. He was fluent in French and Latin, and also was very good at speaking Spanish, Greek and Italian. So in his youth, he was known to be over 6 foot, about 6'2", known to be very, very athletic, like I say, very smart. He used to love sports. His favourite sports were jousting and tennis. Jousting later got him a big leg infection that fucked his whole life up. It stunk, apparently. There was a few different sports, obviously. He just loved sports. He was a very, 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 very athletic man. That's what he did. He loved it. He just loved it. Loved sports. So later on in life, he was known as the champion of arts. And when he was older, his whole court was full of like musicians, artists, philosophers. Like it was just one big university style party, I suppose. We're all smart people. And at these parties, it was well known for singing and dancing. He actually, on his brother's wedding day, got up and started dancing. He was a very artistic, athletic. It was a very smart man. It's just a shame, like what happened later on in it. On the 21st of April, 1509, King Henry VII passes away, and Henry is the new king. Obviously not straight away though, like he's not the king straight away, like he needs to be crowned and stuff first. There's a weird 48 hours after his death, after his dad's death, like there's a weird 48 hours where they don't tell anybody, like they don't tell anybody, like I don't think they even tell, like they tell like close family but no friends. Does that make sense? They literally told nobody, like nobody knew, like the whole kingdom didn't know. There's still historians today that would love to know what happened in that 48 hours of them not telling anybody, and why did they keep it secret, and what did they keep secret. It's all a bit fishy, mate, but he died of tuberculosis. Apparently that's the main cause of his death, tuberculosis, and at the time Henry was only 17 years old, so he was a very young king. That's how King Henry VII ended up passing away from tuberculosis, apparently. King Henry VII was buried on the 10th of May 1509, and he was actually buried next to his wife Elizabeth of York. That was at Westminster Abbey. Westminster Abbey. His dad was that determined that he told his son on his deathbed to marry his brother's ex, Cathrine of Aragon, the first wife. She lasted years as well, mate. She lasted like 30-something years, I think. We'll get into her another day, but yeah, 30-something years, mate. She was the first wife, and she was the best wife, and she was just amazing, and she got chucked aside once by death and once by fucking ego and big twat syndrome. It was said as well that Henry wasn't like, oh no, fuck that, because he actually had a little crush on Catherine, even when his brother was with her when he was little. She was 6 years older than him as well at this time. So yeah, Henry was basically told to keep the alliance with Spain by marrying Catherine and keeping a dowry payment going. Again, if you don't know what that is, please Google it, because I'm not 100%, but basically Spain was paying England to keep Catherine, and it was working again now that she was married to Henry. So the night before the coronation, Prince Henry at the time, well actually it was king because he was crowned 2 months before the coronation. 2 months after the crowning, he had his coronation with Catherine, and the night before he stayed in the Tower of London, as then set by generations of medieval monarchs, like set the tone of it, basically, like to go in the Tower of London before you get crowned. It also says that to take control of the Tower of London is to take control of the country. We'll get into the end now, guys. If you've made it this far along, thank you so fucking much. Again, this is my first video, so big your sends up. We're nearly there. The morning of the coronation, he was taken to Westminster Abbey, where him and Catherine were crowned king and queen. The end. One thing I will tell you is that Henry was the first monarch for a long time, for like 100 years nearly, to inherit the throne without any issues. So no one like come in like say that this is my throne. He literally just took it, inherited it, and like never had to fight for it, I don't think. Not yet, he didn't anyway. That's that, guys. Let me finish up and I'll be back with you and we'll do the outro. Thanks again, guys, for sticking around. And that was Henry VIII's life from 1491 until he got the crown in 1509 at 18 years old. Just 18, just over 18, somewhere around there. Please do like, please do follow the page, guys. Please do share this video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know if you want more, guys. Love you all so much. Bye.